Holme Fell, 1,040 feet and 317 metres. Situated between Little Langdale and Coniston Water in the Udale Valley, this hill can easily be missed as you cruise along the A593, but in actual fact, it's a great beginner's hike with breathtaking views and access to one of Lakeland's hidden gems and one of my personal favourite spots in the whole of the English Lake District. After an early 5 AM start, I headed up the M6, driving through Little Langdale as I made for the lay-by at Yew Tree Tarn. This is where I recommend you park your car and start your route. Keeping the tarn to your left, you find a path over the wall, and as you round the northern edge of the tarn, you cross some boggy ground before crossing a bridge and heading through a small patch of evergreen woodland. Here you'll find a sign pointing the way. Follow the sign literally, and it points directly at the left of 2 gates. The right gate heads to Holme Fell. Stick with the left one, and the path beyond begins to rise up to a T-junction, where you make a right. From here the route is straightforward as it continues up and up to the Uskdale Gap. This is marked by a good-sized cairn and serves as a kind of hiker's roundabout as 3 or 4 paths converge. Upon reaching this cairn, you want to take a left and ascend the steeper part of the route, which brings you out in a trough between Holme Fell on your right and Ivy Crag on your left. And if, like me, you fancy summiting Ivy Crag too, head left and you'll find a great fat cairn which offers great views back towards Holme Fell, and you can see your next summit from there. Heading back into the trough, there are then a few different paths up to the summit of Holme Fell. I took this one pictured here, which involved some mild scrambling for 3 or 4 metres before the path to the summit re-emerged. From here, it's just an easy stroll up to the summit cairn, but just note a slightly higher slab of rock further north serving as a double summit for Holme Fell. The route down is simply a matter of retracing your steps. That is, of course, unless you fancy joining me as I continue to one of my favourite photography and exploration spots in all of Lakeland. More on that later. Hey guys, so I'm here at Yew Tree Tarn this morning, ready to climb Holme Fell. It's early, the sun's just about to rise, as you can perhaps tell just behind me. It's just coming up over there. It's quite soggy underfoot and it is very cold, but I'm going to hopefully capture some footage of the sunrise and then get up to Holme Fell shortly after. So should be a good little walk, and then later on I'm going to take you to one of my favourite places in the Lake District to shoot photos and to explore. It's not a hidden place, lots of people know about it, but I'll come to that a bit later. Just entering behind Yew Tree Tarn. Yew Tree Tarn is just over here to my left, looking a bit murky at the moment in the early morning light, but I will then follow this woodland path to the point where I cross the wall just through here. And here we have the remains of a hiker. That's a shame. I wonder what happened here. Path looks a little bit waterlogged. Now then.
Just look how fresh it is though. A little bit of early morning fog just hanging above the tarn.
And continue on our path. So I wanted to talk a little bit today about the layering system that you wear for a winter hike specifically. It's very important that you get it right, and there's a few fundamentals to remember along the way. So when you're preparing for a winter hike, there's a few key things to remember. First of all, check the weather. I mean, BBC and places like that are good, but for a really detailed account of the weather in some of the UK's key hiking locations, such as the Lake District, you want to check on the MWIS website. It's really detailed and gives a lot of information about wind speeds, wind directions, snowfall, and even just down to what the ground's like underfoot, rainfall. It gives you everything you need to know before you go out. But then, I guess another couple of key points is to get warm and stay warm. Once your body loses heat, you've then got to build it back up again. So, and what I'm doing right now, showing the layers, is letting a bit of heat out, but it's okay at the moment. The other one being, don't layer up with any cotton layers. I wouldn't recommend anyone to wear a cotton layer. It breaks up the breathability system that you want your layers to use whilst you're hiking. This bit's getting a little bit steep just here. I'm probably about halfway up already though, it's only a little one, so I'm not in any difficulty whatsoever. A little bit unfit, that's all. Just trying to regain that fitness that I had probably back in the summertime. But I'm just coming up onto a little flat viewpoint just here, and I'll show you what I can see. Over a lot of deciduous woodland. This tree here covered in moss is fantastic. It's got like a little green coating. Talking about that layering system. As of these. And you can just see through to yew tree tarn at the bottom there where I started. So I do seem to have gained quite a bit of elevation through talking to you guys on the camera. This is where I've just come from. And this is where I'm going. So your first port of call when layering up in the morning before you set out for your hike is to think about the base layer. The base layer will draw the sweat away from your body. It's in contact with your skin. It draws the sweat off your body and expels it out into the atmosphere. So you want to be picking materials that are synthetic, like your nylon, polyester, elastane to give it a little bit of stretch and that comfortable fit. And you do not want to wear cotton. Absolutely do not wear cotton as your first layer. That's the first rule. Base layers come with long sleeves, short sleeves, zip necks, crew necks. I've gone for a crew neck today, but I have a zip neck. The good thing about a zip neck is you can let a bit more air out if you need to. But today, long sleeve, crew neck. It's the winter. I want to keep warm, so that's why I've chosen this one. Your next port of call in a layering system should be a good mid layer. Today, I've chosen to go with a fleece. Most of the time, I will do that. Something Polartec or something, again, sort of stretchy, comfortable, but warming as well, because what the fleece does, that regulates the microclimate beneath it. So it gets a great balance of breathability, letting that air out into the atmosphere again, a bit like the base layer, but it also adds that extra warmth for you and it regulates that temperature. Polartec are really good. You can put one of those in the wash and they come out half dry already. That's because they don't hold moisture. So they're really good at letting that moisture out again. The layering system needs to work together. So the last thing you want to do is go throwing a hoodie on that's made of cotton or a t-shirt on and blocking that layering system. You really want to make sure that all of them are working as a unit to help expel that air but also keep you warm. So that'll do for now. I'll come on to the other layers in the layering system a little bit later on today. You've had the first two. I like to think I know what I'm talking about as a product advisor for the North Face, but I mean, you can interpret this in your own way. You can change a layer out for another one. You don't have to wear the layers that I'm wearing. But as long as you've got those key fundamentals in place, no cotton, breathability, layering system working together, something to keep you dry and something to keep you warm, then you probably won't go wrong. So a lot of these are my own opinions and the way I do things, and I've never found myself in any difficulty.
And so my route continued, as I made the ascent to the crossroads at Ullscarf Gap. Here I made the left turn, ready for that final incline up to the summit.
I'm getting close. I'm right below the summit here. But now just look at this, look what's opened up. Probably the most iconic view in all of Lakeland. The Langdale Pikes. Right in the centre of your screen there. Very small as you can see them. I'll show you them a little bit more close up. There we go, that's about as far in as I can zoom. The Langdale Pikes. The weather was forecast sun all day. It looks like it's going to be that way. The sunrise didn't quite happen, unfortunately. A bank of cloud came over from the east and kind of blocked it. But it's there, and I think we are in for a day of mostly blue sky. So there'll be some good shooting conditions, and we're nearly there. But what a morning to be out, so fresh, crisp, not too cold. I think we're looking at about 7 degrees C today, so yeah, quite comfortable. Here's the day's first summit. Behind us. Let's go do it. Here we are, look at the size of that. What a cairn. Do you think this was the summit? That just there, that was Ivy Crag. This is the summit.
Hey there guys, me again. Made it to Holme Fell summit. Not that it was difficult. This is a walk, if you park where I have and you follow my route,
you're only ascending to 1,040 feet for a start, but it is pretty continuously inclined all the way. It is a bit strenuous in places, but the fact that you're not going high might mean that people with lesser ability can do it and take their time. But for a seasoned hiker, it's an easy one. It's just a rewarding one because the views are so good up here. And on a day like this, I mean, just check it out. It's unreal. You can't beat a good day in the Lake District like this. It can be so unpredictable. The cloud has been covering the sun a little bit from time to time, just very wispy cloud. But for the most part, I'm enjoying the sun. And it's strange, really. I've just been saying this to somebody who was on the summit with me. The sun, even at midday now, is so low in the sky that I feel like the sun's setting, but I keep having to look at my clock to remind myself that it's actually just midday. I've still got loads of my afternoon left. So great views all around. And if we look over this way, right into the sun, a little bit glary, you can actually see the full length of Coniston. You do have to walk over onto this little summit just to the right here. You get a great view down Coniston Water, right there. Back this way, you've got Windermere. I've just come off the summit of Holme Fell here. I've taken a few photos and done the usual thing up there. Had a bite to eat. You might even be able to just see it silhouetted just behind me here. I'm just going to have a little look at the skyline here and point out a few summits for you like I like to do. And then we're going to head down the slope into the quarry. I've zoomed in a little here, so I apologise if it affects the resolution. But here in front of us we have Holme Fell, and then up here we have the Langdale Pikes. So you might not be able to see a knobbly ridge, that's Pavey Ark just here, and then it goes up into Harrison Stickle, which is the tallest of the four. And then further along you have Loft Crag, and then the one on the end, kind of like a dome-like summit just there, that is Piker Stickle. Panning round, in the foreground here you have Low Fell, and it runs up the slope to Wetherlam, which is one that I haven't done and wish to at some point soon. And then one last little treat, if you look through the gap just over Low Fell there, you have Pike Oblisco just poking its head out before the clouds cover it up. But there's no more iconic view than this Langdale Pike skyline in the Lake District, in my opinion. So the time has come to leave the summit now. I'm going to head down and I'm going to take you to a place where I've loved to shoot photos for years, and it's a great little exploration spot. And the locals and a lot of Lake District familiars will know Hodge Close Quarry, no problem. But for those of you that don't, it's well worth a visit. It is a bit dangerous. It's a disused quarry at the end of the day. It hasn't been used since before World War II, I think it was closed. It has been used by cavers, divers and rock climbers in more recent years, but we'll come on to more of that later. But for the time being, yeah, it's one of my favourite spots. I love it there. I've been there several times, and I believe I just have to find my way off the summit now. So for those of you that wish to climb this summit but don't necessarily want to visit Hodge Close, you just need to retrace your steps from the route that you took up. It's very easy. I hope I've explained it well enough earlier on in the vlog, and yeah, enjoy it. It's well worth it, and it's open to more abilities because it's a low one and you can get up there slow and steady, and you can actually park your car almost right at the foot of the fell, really, once you've walked around Yew Tree Tarn. So I strongly advise you get up here if you're able to. But anyway, until later, I've got to get me down to this quarry. So as I head down to Hodge Close Quarry, I just wanted to pick up from where I left off earlier, talking about the layering system. We covered the base layer, comfortable, breathable, acting like a second skin. We covered the mid layer, then we're going to come on to the third layer. And this is where it's perhaps debatable, it's perhaps down to personal preference. But remember, we're talking about winter hikes here. Personally, I prefer my third layer to be a down jacket. You've seen me in this jacket all day so far. It's an 800 fill down jacket. On a day like today, I know I'm not going to get rained on. Down jackets are not waterproof. Sometimes you can get pro down, which is water resistant, but at the end of the day, if you get soaked, you will lose the benefit of that down jacket because they keep you warm but not dry. Now, as an alternative to down, you can go for a synthetically insulated jacket. Something with some man-made insulation in there, something like a Primaloft, a Thermoball. These jackets are going to keep you a little bit more water resistant in that they will still keep you warm if you do get wet for a certain amount of time, longer than a down jacket will. And in the UK, a lot of the mountain rescue teams and people that I see talk about layering systems do prefer it. Personally, I go with down because I know I'm not going to get this wet. It's going to keep me warm. Sometimes it stays in my bag. On the last vlog that I filmed, it never came out of the bag. I went with another layer that you could choose for your third layer, a soft shell, a very tightly woven fabric, most often windproof, water resistant as well, sometimes waterproof, but you need to check if you're going to go with a soft shell layer because they ain't always waterproof and they don't offer as much warmth as an insulated jacket will, synthetic or down. So know the conditions, know your weather, and if you're confident you're not getting rain, which I was today, I've still got the waterproof in my bag, but I've not brought the soft shell. I thought down jacket, keep me warm, and you particularly want to bring the down jacket out of your bag as soon as you get stood still. If you're having your lunch, if you're stopping to take photos or anything like that, take the jacket out of your bag, pop it on. Think back to what I said at the beginning of the vlog. It's about staying warm, because once you lose your body heat, you've then got to build it back up again. And you might be able to, but in extreme circumstances, you don't want to lose any heat if you can help it. So, now another note on down jackets. Some people like to wear them over the top of their waterproofs. Again, I just don't like to get mine wet. I prefer to have mine underneath. It's still breathable. The feathers trap the heat in for me, so I'm okay. Sorry to ramble on a little bit about it, but I just wanted to cover the layering system, let you know what your options are, and ensure that you're keeping yourself safe on a winter hike from a clothing perspective. And finally, to cover the final layer that I would take on a winter hike, the fourth layer that I would put on if needed over the top of my down jacket, or whichever layer you choose, would be the waterproof. Obviously, there'll be circumstances where you need to stay dry. Waterproofs will be mostly windproof. If not windproof, for example, if you've got a Gore-Tex shell, they will offer windproofing as well. Really reduces the chill out of the wind. I would put that over the top of my down jacket to keep that dry as well as me. So, yeah, it's in my bag today. I've not needed it, and I don't expect to. I probably didn't need to bring it, to be fair. I was so confident in the weather because it has just been glorious. A lovely winter sunny day. So yeah, that's the 4 items of clothing that I would wear on my upper body on a winter walk. In terms of the bottom half of your body, I would recommend a pair of soft shell pants. Comfortable, they have a lot of stretch and give in them. They can be quite straight cut, but you can get the odd ones that flare out a bit. Obviously, if you're going to go up high, it's a no-brainer. You need a good pair of walking socks with some good cushioning and a pair of boots, walking boots, waterproof preferably, with Gore-Tex and a good sturdy sole on them. Today I've not gone with the boot because it's only a low-level fell. I decided to just go with a walking trainer, but either way you need a good sturdy footwear on your feet. And yeah, your soft shell pants will offer you the DWR water repellent coating. They'll be very, very wind resistant, comfortable, breathable. They won't be waterproof. That's where you need over trousers. So you can get waterproof over trousers just to pull on. They fold down into a bag if you want to get some on the cheap. If you want to pay a bit more, you can get some really good ones from most outdoor retailers. But yeah, that's pretty much the head to toe clothing. The only other thing I would say, if you want one of my little hacks just for the end here, is a neck warmer in winter. is as good as an extra layer for me. I can't recommend them enough. They really plug that gap where heat escapes just at your neck there, or a scarf I suppose, but when you're out there you don't want to be messing with a scarf with long tails and things. You just want to be able to pull the neck tube over, plug that gap. I've taken mine off because I'm quite hot today, to be fair, so they are a godsend, and obviously a good pair of gloves and a hat. Even take a spare hat and gloves if you feel the need, because if you do get on a rainy day, a wet day, you don't want to have to be wearing a cold hat and cold gloves. And finally, I appreciate I've talked a lot there. I just wanted to do more of an informative video whilst doing my hike this time, given that I have the expertise from working for a brand like the North Face, and I just wanted to sort of provide a little bit of a tutorial, I suppose.
Once again guys, thanks for watching. Tune in next time for less talking and more action as the adventure continues and we head down into Hodge Close Quarry.
So I've made it now to Hodge Close. You can see it here behind me. I'm going in. Head torch is on. I just climbed down through this hole here.
It's quite eerie just knowing that people have gone in here, maybe got in here and not come back out again.
And knowing that people have actually gone into these waters and died in the caverns and tunnels underneath. I might not have got back out of there.